I'm Joni Snyder. I am 77 years old, and I am a diabetic, a type 2 diabetic, and I have, in the course of a year and a half, begun to really develop neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy in my feet, and I'm sure it's directly related to the diabetes. So I'm here to answer any questions or tell my story about my association with experience. And I'm going to call it experience, if you'll forgive me, because that acronym is too long. I've tried memorizing it, I can't do it. So I'm at experience now, and it's a good experience. I became associated about 5 years ago. I was in a devastating automobile accident in 2018, and it traumatized my back and my neck and my emotions, of course. And so I came looking for help to restore my life, and I happened upon you. And it was really through church communication, because we both go to the same church. So that's what kind of led me here, which also made me feel very, very calm and good and trusting about being associated with your wellness center experience. I've had 5 years on and off, but during COVID, of course, I didn't venture out. I was so nervous. I stayed in my house. But for the other period of time, I would come for adjustments, and I had like manual adjustments done to me before, but the type that we experience here, so much better, so much better. And I really got my life back. I have to tell you one funny story. I was in probably this room with Dr. Omar. I was really in pain in the back of my neck area. And you have to picture that you probably were here, this whole area of the waiting room was full of people waiting. And so he does an adjustment, and it was so wonderful. It took my pain away that I said, "Oh my God, that feels so good." And then I realized how loud I had been. I walked out into the waiting room, and the people were like smirking at me, and I said, please forgive me, but I was just so happy to be out of pain. But it was a kind of joyful and funny moment. Well, I definitely am free from pain. My neck has really taken the brunt, I think, of the accident, my lower back, and I'm actually now enabled to go back and do Zumba. I'm going to get back to my old self. My biggest fear in all of the conditions that I'm facing right now, I want to maintain my mobility. I always want to be able to take care of myself. Everyone has that wish. So that's why I'm willing to go through this very scary moment and share my information with people out there, because there's no life without that kind of independence. So I have regained that, but also through the neuropathy, something else miraculous came along, but I'll tell you about that later. Stay tuned.
Tell me about that.
It started to happen to me about a year and a half ago, and it was like a tingling sensation in my feet. I was used to tingling because 17 years ago I had carpal tunnel surgery in both of my hands, so I was familiar with that kind of feeling. And then it started to worsen, and I was at a soccer game with one of my 11 grandchildren, and sitting there on a blanket, and all of a sudden, all I could concentrate on were my feet. They were achy. It was just unusual. And I sat there for almost an hour rubbing them just so that I could stay and watch my child play. Knew something was wrong, and so I started researching, investigating a bit, and it scared me. When I got online and saw the groups that talk about neuropathy, there are not many out there who are finding solutions. They're living with pain. They are taking heavy pain medication. They're having surgery. They're having shots, and they're not having a lot of luck with it. Some of the suggestions when people talk about not being able to sleep at night because of the pain, put your feet into ice cubes and water. These things are not going to be a lasting answer for them. So I had to find another place, and just happened that a place that I love was starting a program. And so I became involved in it, and I followed my protocol. Now I've got to tell you, when people start the neuropathy program, they have to know that it's a job. It is a job. I worked probably for the first 6 months for 3 hours a day on my feet religiously. And my advice to people is to take it seriously. Get in there fast, do what they tell you to do, take your supplements, use all the anodynes and the rebuilders. I have a little corner in my house that's all set up. I keep it as neat as possible, but people do not try to put your stuff away. You're going to use it twice a day. Don't worry about the neatness aspects. Set up a little area where you can move from chair to chair and do your thing. And then that will encourage you because it will be easy. Just keep at it. And the supplements that you take are not tasty. Now, there may be ways to compensate for that. Maybe I've never tried putting these little supplements in anything except water. Maybe you could take it with something else, and probably that I should have tried. But I've gotten it down so that I mix it up, take a drink, and then I have a yummy, gummy vitamin that I chew afterwards just to give me a little bit of a refresher. So they're going to have to deal with that, and they'll probably find their ways around it, which is fine. So I religiously did it, and I'm so glad I did because now I can drive a car safely. My right foot feels the pedal. I was so scared about that. I can run with my grandchildren. I can walk my German Shepherd. I can do all the things that are so essential to a happy life. And so I'm just hoping that for other people. You know, they just need to get out there, try it. Don't wait on it. Don't disguise what you're feeling. Don't cover it with all the medications that they've taught us to use all these years. It's just not going to work. Might cover it for a month, but it's going to develop, and it's a terrifying thing to look forward to, not to be mobile. If it's neuropathy or back problems, whatever it is, don't wait on it. Don't try to disguise it with medications that just kind of, keep the symptoms from being seen for a while, but you're doing nothing to improve your health by just covering it. And so I want to get to the nitty-gritty of it. I want to live a good life. I want to do as much as I possibly can. And I'm just determined. I'm going to march through, and I'm going to be walking when I'm 85, hopefully, and even 90. And a lot of it will be thanks to this community. It's a joyful place. It's family-oriented, so I love kids. I have 11 grandchildren, and so when I walk in here and I see the families and I see how comfortable everyone is together, and I see that they're even being introduced into this kind of program and successfully, it just makes me happy. And everybody's so kind and such good Christian people. It just fills my heart and gives me a lot of confidence.